Some bad news tonight for Mount Vernon native and former Iowa Hawkeye star Tristan Wirfs. He will probably miss some of the NFL season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The two-time first-team All-Pro had to undergo arthroscopic knee surgery and will likely be sidelined when the season opens this fall. There are reports that Wirfs will begin the season on the physically unable to perform list. This past February, Wirfs signed a massive 5-year, $140 million contract with $88 million guaranteed, which is a record for offensive tackles.
Breaking news just hit the NFL world like a thunderbolt. Tampa Bay Buccaneers All-Pro left tackle Tristan Wirfs underwent arthroscopic knee surgery Tuesday. The news broke Wednesday through multiple reports. This development could completely derail the Buccaneers' 2025 championship aspirations before the season even begins. Wirfs suffered a right knee injury last season that forced him to miss one game. The persistent soreness never resolved during the offseason program. Multiple setbacks throughout the summer forced the surgical decision rather than continuing conservative treatment. "It's precautionary, it's the offseason," head coach Todd Bowles said during mandatory minicamp. He'll be fine in training camp. Bowles' optimism proved incorrect. Additional damage was discovered and repaired during Tuesday's arthroscopic procedure. Wirfs wore a knee brace throughout the entire offseason program. The lingering issues that wouldn't clear up prompted the team to address the situation surgically. Wirfs was the 13th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft out of Iowa. He immediately helped the Buccaneers and Tom Brady win Super Bowl 55 during his rookie season. The 26-year-old tackle has compiled remarkable accolades across 5 NFL seasons. He's earned 4 consecutive Pro Bowl selections from 2021 to 2024. Wirfs achieved first-team All-Pro honors twice, at right tackle in 2021 and left tackle in 2024. He stands as the first player selected All-Pro at both tackle positions in NFL history. Before 2016, the All-Pro roster included 2 tackles but didn't differentiate between right or left side. Wirfs made the team at right tackle in 2021, then switched positions in 2023. He recently ranked number 20 on CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco's annual list of the NFL's top 100 players. The durability numbers tell an incredible story. Wirfs has started all 79 games of his 5-year career. He's missed just 4 total games across his entire NFL tenure, one of the most reliable players in the league. The 2024 season showcased Wirfs at his absolute peak. Pro Football Focus ranked him as the 9th overall tackle in the NFL. More importantly, he earned the top pass blocking grade among all tackles with a remarkable 94.1 rating. The protection statistics paint an extraordinary picture. Wirfs did not allow a single sack during the entire 2024 season. He permitted only one quarterback hit over 1,014 pass protection snaps. His pressure allowed rate of 1.9% on pass plays, ranked as the lowest among all offensive tackles. Pro Football Focus gave Wirfs the 4th best offensive rating among tackles who played at least 80% of 1,168 snaps, the most among players at the position last season. In 2023, he received the 5th best offensive rating among tackles and 3rd best pass blocking grade. He was PFF's top-rated tackle in 2021. For comparison, the highest pass blocking grades among tackles last season were Tristan Wirfs, Buccaneers, 94.1, Jordan Mailata, Eagles, 90.8, Rashawn Slater, Chargers, 89.9, Laramie Tunsil, Texans, 89.1, Lance Johnson, your Eagles, 88.7. The massive gap between Wirfs and available replacements becomes clear through these numbers. Tampa Bay demonstrated their commitment by signing Wirfs to a 5-year, $140.6 million extension in August 2024. He carries an $11.5 million cap hit in 2025. That figure jumps dramatically to $36.3 million in 2026, showing the franchise's long-term investment in his protection. Wirfs is expected to begin the season on the physically unable to perform list. The PUP designation applies to players with football-related injuries. When applied prior to training camp, PUP players count against a team's offseason roster and can participate in all team activities except practice. Players can be activated from PUP to practice at any point. However, if they remain on PUP after rosters are finalized in the preseason, they no longer count against the active roster but must sit out at least the first 4 games of the season. This minimum 4-game absence represents the best-case scenario for Wirfs' return. Wirfs protects Baker Mayfield's blind side, the most vulnerable position for any quarterback. The two players are described as one of his closest friends on the team. Their relationship extends beyond football into genuine friendship. The statistical correlation between Wirfs' presence and Mayfield's success cannot be ignored. With Wirfs in the lineup, Mayfield was pressured 23.2% of the time, the 4th lowest rate in the NFL. Since joining Tampa Bay, Mayfield has thrown 69 touchdowns against 26 interceptions over 2 seasons. Mayfield earned Pro Bowl selections in both seasons with Wirfs protecting him. His career resurgence coincides directly with having elite left tackle protection. Having a reliable left tackle like Wirfs protecting the blind side has undoubtedly played a role in Mayfield's success with the Buccaneers. Charlie Heck signed as a free agent from the San Francisco 49ers and represents the primary replacement option. The 28-year-old veteran has 23 career starts across 6 NFL seasons. He was originally a 4th-round draft pick by the Houston Texans in 2020. Heck's father, Andy, serves as the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line coach. The Buccaneers signed Heck to be their swing tackle, not expecting him to replace Wirfs for multiple games. Other tackle options include Silas Zancy, Benjamin Chukwuma, Garrett Greenfield, and Lawrence Metz. The team gave undrafted free agent Benjamin Chukwuma a league-high $55,000 signing bonus, and he may factor into the equation. The depth situation worsened when Justin Schooley signed a 1-year, $2 million contract with the Vikings during free agency. Schooley started 5 games last season for the Buccaneers, including 4 at right tackle, when starter Luke Goedeke was out with a concussion. Minnesota left tackle Christian Darrisaw is expected to miss the first 4 games of the season, creating an opportunity for Skull. Free agency presents slim options for quality left tackle help. Longtime Dallas Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith announced his retirement in April after spending 2024 with the New York Jets. Tampa Bay could attempt to lure the 8-time Pro Bowler back for one final season. Other free agents include former Cleveland Browns standout Jedrick Wills and former Seattle Seahawks veteran George Fant. The pickings are described as slim for quality protection. Bribed as slim for quality protection. Trade possibilities exist, but remain unlikely. Few teams willingly part with quality left tackles during the season. The Buccaneers face a challenging opening schedule without their all-pro protector. This stretch is described as not exactly a cakewalk without elite left tackle play. Week 1 brings a September 7th road game against the Atlanta Falcons. The division rivals swept Tampa Bay last season. Atlanta added 2 first-round pass rushers to Raheem Morris's defense, strengthening their pass rush capabilities. Week 2 features a September 15th road matchup against the Houston Texans. Houston boasts one of the stingiest defenses in the game under DeMeco Ryans. Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter fly off the edge, creating immediate pressure concerns for the Buccaneers' offensive line. September 21st brings the New York Jets to Tampa Bay for Week 3. Week 4 hosts the Philadelphia Eagles on September 28th. The reigning Super Bowl champions dominated the Chiefs in the championship game thanks to their front 7 pressure. October 5th takes the Buccaneers to Seattle, followed by an October 12th home game against the San Francisco 49ers. Both Seattle and San Francisco employ respected defensive minds who will target the weakened left tackle position. The Buccaneers started each of the past 2 seasons with a 3-1 record under Baker Mayfield's leadership. Without Wirfs protecting the quarterback, that successful pattern becomes much harder to duplicate. Tampa Bay represents the 4-time defending NFC South champions. They needed a final game victory over the Saints to clinch their 4th straight division title after being swept by Atlanta last season. The offensive line anchored by Wirfs helped Tampa Bay finish 4th in rushing last season. His absence threatens the entire offensive foundation that supported their recent success. Buccaneers rookies report to training camp July 21st, with veterans reporting July 22nd. The team hosts the Tennessee Titans in their first preseason game August 9th in Tampa. Instead of missing just training camp and preseason preparation, Wirfs now faces regular season absence. The timing eliminates crucial preparation time for both Wirfs and his potential replacements. Former NFL cornerback Asante Samuel Sr. just went nuclear on the Dolphins organization, and honestly, after listening to what he had to say, I'm not sure I can argue with much of it. Multiple people have been speaking out about this organization lately. We've got Samuel Sr. dropping bombs. We've got comments from departing players like Raheem Mostert and Jonnu Smith. Even the national media is starting to pile on. Today, we're going to break down all of these criticisms and see if they hold water. Let's start with the big one. Asante Samuel Sr. came out yesterday and absolutely destroyed the Dolphins' leadership structure. Here's exactly what he said. The Dolphins had no reason to trade Jalen Ramsey other than they're sensitive. There's no leadership in the Dolphins organization. Mike McDaniel is a pushover. Chris Grier, the general manager, he has no backbone. These guys over here, the Miami Dolphins, they are running this team like a little league team. No one can stand up to the players. They are terrified of their own players. They have no control over their players.
Dolphins had no reason to trade Jalen Ramsey other than they're sensitive. There's no leadership in the Dolphins organization. Mike McDaniels is a pushover. Chris Grier, the general manager, he has no backbone. These guys over here at the Miami Dolphins, they are running this team like a little league team. No one can stand up to the players. They're terrified of their own players, and they have no control over their players.
That's pretty damning stuff, right? Samuel Sr. didn't hold back at all. He basically called out the entire power structure from top to bottom. The head coach is a pushover. The GM has no backbone. The organization runs like a little league team. Now, before we dive into whether he's right or wrong, let's establish some context. Samuel Sr. is the father of Asante Samuel Jr., a cornerback the Dolphins have reportedly been pursuing. Based on these comments, it's safe to say Samuel Jr. won't be signing in Miami anytime soon. Samuel Sr. specifically mentioned the Jalen Ramsey trade as evidence of organizational weakness. Let's break down what actually happened here because it's pretty telling. The Dolphins gave Ramsey a contract extension after he was dealing with a groin injury. Remember this timeline. Ramsey has injury concerns, gets his extension, then suddenly he's good to go for week 2. That's the kind of situation that drives organizations crazy. But here's the thing. The Dolphins don't know how to handle these alpha dog type players. You could argue that players like Ramsey are toxic and you don't want them in your locker room. That's fair. But when you look at Super Bowl winning teams, they have guys who keep the locker room in check. They have vocal leaders who won't let players give up or create drama. The Dolphins seem incapable of holding on to these kinds of players. They can't manage the strong personalities that championship teams need. Whether it's Ramsey or other alpha types, Miami just can't make it work. Samuel Sr. is going off perception, obviously. He hasn't worked directly with Grier or been coached by McDaniel, but perception matters in the NFL. When you look at the Miami Dolphins organization from the outside, it doesn't look good. Think about where we are right now. We traded Jalen Ramsey to Pittsburgh. Now we're hoping and praying that Rasul Douglas signs with us. We're hoping Stephon Gilmore will come here. These are guys still available on the street, while every other team has their number one corner locked up. Who's our number one corner right now? Storm Duck? Ethan Bonner? Is Cater Johnson going to play outside? The secondary is completely messed up. We've heard nothing from Minkah Fitzpatrick since the trade. Maybe he's waiting until July 22nd to make some statement about being happy to be back. The organization keeps talking about culture. But from the outside looking in, it's kind of a mess. Samuel Sr. sees that mess and calls it exactly what it is, a little league operation. Samuel Sr. isn't the only one speaking out. Raheem Mostert sent out a tweet after the Jonnu Smith trade that said, "Pro Bowl players on the Dolphins get treated like blank. Happy for my guy, though." Now this is where things get weird with Mostert. He was just on the Fish Tank show saying great things about the Dolphins and his time with the team. Then he tweets this out. The timing is bizarre. Also, let's be technically accurate here. Jonnu Smith was an alternate Pro Bowler, not a full Pro Bowler. And Mostert, when you had your great Pro Bowl year, Didn't the Dolphins give you a contract extension? They took care of you financially after you had all those all-purpose touchdowns. The contradiction in Mostert's messaging is confusing. One day he's praising the organization, the next day he's suggesting they mistreat Pro Bowl players. It makes you wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Jonnu Smith handled his departure much more diplomatically. He appeared on Taron Armstead's podcast and said, "I didn't foresee this happening with how the season went for me individually. Obviously, I had aspirations of ending my career in Miami, with it basically being home for me, my children, my family, but I understand the business side of it and it didn't work out. I'm grateful. I've got no ill feelings towards Miami and nobody in the organization. I can't sit here and lie and say it didn't sting when the process was playing itself out."
Said, I didn't foresee this happening with how the season went for me individually. Obviously, I had aspirations of ending my career in Miami, with it basically being home for me, my children, my family. But I understand the business side of it, and it didn't work out. I'm grateful. I've got no ill feelings towards Miami and nobody in the organization. He also says, I can't sit here and lie and say it didn't sting when the process was playing itself out.
Smith had a franchise record-setting year in 2024. He was the fourth best tight end in the NFL for receiving and touchdowns, but he wanted $12 million from Miami, and they simply couldn't afford it. The Dolphins were sitting at $13 million in cap space before any trades. They had bigger needs, like cornerback, because Ramsey already had 1 foot out the door. Smith understood the business reality. The Steelers were willing to pay $12 million. Miami wasn't. Actually, the Dolphins did Smith a favor. They could have held on to his contract rights and forced him to play for less or get fined. Instead, they facilitated his move to Pittsburgh, where he could get his money. That's probably why he said he has no ill feelings toward the organization. The national media has started picking up on Miami's dysfunction, too. NFL Live discussed the Dolphins' recent trades, and their analysis wasn't flattering. Kimberly Martin expressed confusion about the team's direction.
From when I look at the Dolphins, one of the things that we've said year after year is this team just doesn't seem to be physically tough. Not my words. Opponents have said that the same. And so when I look at the Dolphins, I just wonder what the direction is for this team.
She's pointing out the contradiction. The Dolphins talk about wanting to be more physical, but then they trade away physical players like Ramsey. The mixed messaging suggests an organization without clear direction. Field Yates was even more direct in his criticism.
Which is that they've made a handful of big bets over the past few years, whether it's trades or extensions or trades that led to extensions, a la Bradley Chubb, a deal that has not worked out. The Tyreek Hill extension, which, one season into it looked like perhaps, a mistake on Miami's part. We'll see if he bounces back this season. Jalen Ramsey as well, extended in September, now traded in July, Mina. It just feels like this is a team whose football business is often mediocre, and that's...
Yates nailed it. This is Chris Grier's track record. Big moves that don't work out, poor timing on extensions, mediocre football business decisions. Let's talk about Chris Grier because he's at the center of all this dysfunction. Grier has survived 3 head coaches in 9 years. He outlasted Adam Gase. He survived Brian Flores. Now he's getting another chance with Mike McDaniel. Think about that for a second. 9 years as GM, 3 different head coaches, and he's still here. You would think this guy had taken us to AFC Championship games 6 out of the past 9 years, but we've missed the playoffs 6 of the last 8 seasons. We haven't won a playoff game since 2000. The Bradley Chubb trade is a perfect example of Grier's poor decision-making. Instead of going after Roquan Smith, the linebacker who's now killing it with the Baltimore Ravens, Grier traded for Chubb. That deal hasn't worked out at all. The Tyreek Hill extension looked questionable after just 1 season. The Ramsey extension in September, followed by a trade in July, shows terrible asset management. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a pattern of mediocre football operations. The Dolphins find themselves in a difficult position heading into the 2025 season. They have talent but lack leadership. They have potential but poor decision-making at key positions. They have aspirations but a track record of disappointment. The pressure is mounting for significant improvement. If the team struggles again, veteran players will likely be traded, and the entire organizational structure could face major changes.
What's up? What? What's up?
but still I can't afford to. Let these niggas.
Stay close. Stay close. Got it.